South Koreans rallied once again to voice their strong opposition to Japan dumping wastewater into the ocean. Kim Sung reports.
Tens of thousands of South Koreans gathered in downtown Seoul on Saturday to condemn Japan's radioactive wastewater release. In response to the wastewater release that started last Thursday, around 50,000 people from different walks of life joined the said protest, including members of political parties in the country, as well as civic groups who are calling on the Japanese government to stop dumping radioactive wastewater into the ocean. The protesters also opposed the government's stand of allowing Japan to do as it pleases regarding its planned release. According to the protesters, Japan's selfish acts will amount to disastrous consequences for the sea and human life, asking who would be at fault of the damage caused by Fukushima wastewater release in the distant future. That is why the protesters urged the Japanese government to immediately stop the release of nuclear-contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean, while also asking the South Korean government to act quickly and stop Japan from what it was doing.
그리고 반드시 일본을 상대로 국제해양법 재판소에 반드시 제소를 해서 일본이 두 번 다시 이런 반인류적인 핵테러를 못하도록 반드시 막아야 한다고 생각하고.
In addition, a protester said that what Japan is doing is a clear criminal act towards humanity and that the entirety of Japan should be prosecuted in the face of the International Tribunal due to its transgressions of the law of the sea, adding that it should also stop its nuclear terrorism.
한국의 윤석열 정부가 일본의 후쿠시마 오염수 방류에 대해서 반대하지 않고 오히려 일본을 대신해서 괜찮다라고 국민을 속이고 이것을 방조하고 묵인하는 것에 대해서 강력하게 항의하는 표시로 나왔어요.
On the other hand, protesters expressed disappointment to the administration of President Yoon Suk-yeol and its role in Japan's efforts to push the discharge plan. On this same day, around 1,000 people rallied at Busan Station Plaza, where they marched towards the Japanese Consulate General in Busan, as well as in Jonggu and other parts of South Korea. Solisabago Kim Sang, Imnida, SMNI News, South Korea.
Following the release of treated radioactive wastewater from the crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant, a recent poll in Japan revealed that the approval rating for the cabinet led by the Prime Minister has plunged into dangerous waters. Kent Hashimoto files this report.
The support rate for the cabinet is now less than 30%, according to the poll conducted by Japanese newspaper Mainichi Shimbun.
In the release approval rating, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's cabinet support fell by 26% for 2 consecutive months. The poll was conducted from August 26 to 27, and the approval rating of Kishida's cabinet fell by 2% since the month prior, while the disapproval rating rose to 68%. In the release approval rating, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's cabinet support fell by 26% for 2 consecutive months.
The huge drop in the Democratic Party's approval was linked in the recent steps taken by the government, such as its decision to release nuclear-contaminated water into the ocean last Thursday.
Thailand vowed to increase inspection of seafood from Japan following the discharge of wastewater from the damaged Fukushima nuclear plant. Anissa de Guzman reports.
Thailand's FDA is holding back from taking any immediate action following the discharge of wastewater coming from Japan's damaged Fukushima nuclear plant on August 24. Thailand's Food and Drug Administration, FDA, held talks with the Department of Fisheries, the Office of Atoms for Peace, and the Thailand Institute of Nuclear Technology regarding the potential contamination of seafood due to wastewater. The agency's Deputy Secretary General clarified that the Fisheries Department officials and the FDA will inspect all incoming food for signs of radioactive materials that could exceed Thailand's safety standard. Furthermore, shipments failing the safety inspection will be sent back and additional imports will be halted. So far, none of the 4,375 seafood samples collected from Fukushima in the past year showed radioactive materials exceeding the safety level, as per Japan's Public Health Ministry. Thailand's FDA and associated agencies plan to double the volume of seafood samples collected for radioactive material detection to strengthen consumer confidence in their safety. The first shipment of Japanese seafood after the wastewater discharge took place will arrive in mid-September. Di siya na ni Sadi Guzman, Rangan Chakuntep Manakon, SMNI News, Pratet Times.
The largest wildfire ever recorded in the European Union, which is currently found in Greece, is continuing to pose a serious threat to the country as it closes in on the capital city of Athens. This report from Margaret Percasio.
Despite firefighting efforts from several countries in the European Union, wildfires in Greece have been burning for the 10th consecutive day, and officials are growing increasingly worried as the blazes close in on the capital city, Athens. This comes as the Greek government has arrested 140 people with wildfire-related charges, including 79 charged with arson, whom Greece Civil Protection Minister Vasilis Kikilias told, quote, "You are committing a crime against the country," end of quote. Quote, "Arsonists are setting fires that threaten forest, property, and most of all, human lives," end of quote. Quote, "You will not get away with it. We will find you. You will be held accountable," end of quote. Currently, fire crews, military, and volunteers are struggling to bring the wildfires under control. With firefighting forces stretched to the limit, Greece has called for help from other European countries. Germany, Sweden, Croatia, and Cyprus have sent aircraft, while dozens of Romanian, French, Czech, Bulgarian, Albanian, Slovak, and Serb firefighters are helping on the ground. Since the fire started on August 19, at least 20 people believed to be migrants, including 2 children, have been found dead in Greece. The largest fire is currently raging near the city of Alexandroupoli and is the largest wildfire ever recorded in the European Union, according to EU Commissioner for Crisis Management, Yanis Nenarčič, as more than 70,000 hectares of area has now been burned. Meanwhile, across the whole of Greece, reports say wildfires have burned through 1.3 billion square meters or 130 hectares so far, an EU record, according to the European Forest Fire Information System. Many who call this area home will have nothing to come back to. It can be noted that wildfires are common across Greece during summer, although recent hot, dry weather has provided ideal conditions for them to spread. Last month, 20,000 tourists were reportedly evacuated from roads following fires on the popular tourist island. This is Margaret Percasio reporting, SMNI News.